What is up, everybody? Welcome for the first time ever to Yanker Racing. On this channel, I'm going to be doing a lot of post-race reviews, and what a race to start off with. This race tonight at Daytona was a crazy race. First of all, we had a 4-wide finish at Daytona. There was plenty of wild card guys that could have won this race and snuck their way into the playoffs, but Ryan Blaney ends up coming up super clutch. He came from the back. I'll get into it. We will get into how Ryan Blaney came from the back. Hey, wait a minute. Pause. Wait a minute. Pause. But Ryan Blaney had a hell of a race, and he closed it. But let's start all the way back to before the race started, because coming into this race, there was so many storylines playing out. Number one, this was the final race of NASCAR's regular season, so there was 2 spots left for grabs, and one of them was going to go to either Tyler Reddick or Alex Bowman. But if we had a new winner, one of those guys was going to get bounced out from the playoffs. And obviously, NASCAR is so smart for putting Daytona as... I honestly love this part of the schedule because Daytona opens the regular season and Daytona closes the regular season. Having a wild card race like this right before the playoffs, where you never know if somebody unexpected can win and sneak their way into the playoffs, like Harrison Burton did last year, but it just creates so many storylines going into the playoffs. And so with that being the main storyline of the 45 of Tyler Reddick and the 48 of Alex Bowman, both trying to make it in on points, and it changed dramatically in stage 1 because the 38 of Todd Gilliland and the 45 of Tyler Reddick got together in stage 1 and both spun out. And Tyler Reddick ended up hitting the inside wall, getting a lot of damage on his car, and it looked like maybe Bowman was going to be able to pass Reddick just on points. And stage 1, I think stage 1 was pretty good. There was a pretty good amount of 3-wide racing in stage 1. All 3, the inside lane, the middle lane, and the outside lane, were able to generate runs, and it was pretty good racing in the first stage. The first stage had a few cautions, and that brings me to our next one, which we got the big one in stage 1. And unfortunately, Alex Bowman was in the big one. Instantly, we knew that, all right, because his car, there was no way that they were going to be able to repair that. So we knew that if we had a new winner tonight, Bowman was out of the playoffs. And right after the crash, they interviewed Alex Bowman after he left the infield care center, and he was like, it's a tough spot to be in because regardless of what happens, he felt like he had no chance to do anything about it. He just had to watch from the sidelines and hope that we did not get a new winner tonight. So stage 1 ended. Kyle Larson ended up winning stage 1. And to start stage 2, we had a lot of guys on different strategies, and it brought some not so familiar faces up to the front. We had Cody Ware leading laps in the 51 car, which is just unheard of, but it is Daytona, so stuff like that can happen. SVG was up at the front. Cole Custer was up at the front, which we will touch on Cole Custer later because he almost won the race somehow. But I did feel like stage 2 everybody kind of like relaxed a little bit in stage 2 and kind of just settled in. There wasn't as many cautions, which was good for the viewing experience. It was a good, smooth stage 2, and Ross Chastain ended up winning that stage, which was crazy because right after stage 2, when we go into the next set of pit stops, Ross Chastain ends up getting a penalty for pitting right outside of his pit box. The driver who had to pit in front of him was the 12 of Ryan Blaney, and Blaney could not get into his pit stall because Chastain was literally inside, half of Chastain's car was inside of the 12 team's pit stall, which basically sent the 12 to the back because he could not get into his pit stall and just had a really slow pit stop. So then now that brings us to stage 3, and stage 3 was pretty crazy. It was good classic Daytona racing. Now, a lot of people have criticized the next-gen car for not racing as well on super speedways, and honestly, I didn't see that much of that tonight. Previously, we've seen kind of gridlock at Daytona and Talladega in this next-gen car, and I don't know what it was tonight, but it didn't feel as gridlocked. Cars were able to move from the top lane to the bottom lane and get runs and generate energy for the line to move forward. Runs were generated, and also if somebody got out of line, they were left for dead. They would get shuffled up to the back. But when that happened, we seen multiple guys be able to maneuver their way back up to the front. Tonight's super speedway racing, in my opinion, was pretty good. It's not up to what it could be like in previous generations of cars, This car definitely still does have stuff to work on, but I thought it was good racing tonight. So we get to towards the end of stage 3, and there's guys like the 43 of Eric Jones at the front. Justin Haley was at the front. Guys who, if they won, would make the playoffs. But luckily for Alex Bowman, his Hendrick teammates were at the front. Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott were back to back in like second and third in the top lane, and then William Byron was only a car or two back in that top lane. And Ryan Preece was leading the top lane, which is another guy who, if he would have won tonight, would have made the playoffs and knocked out Bowman. With 2 or 3 to go, the 60 of Preece was in the lead, and the Hendrick cars literally just pulled out of line and left Preece, and Preece got shuffled to the back. So the Hendrick cars were controlling the top lane coming to 2 laps to go. And then eventually the 41 of Cole Custer got a big run. The 7 of Justin Haley got a big run. There was so many runs from guys who could have made the playoffs if they won tonight. And then somehow, some way, Ryan Blaney, who we were just talking about, had a horrible pit stop and got shuffled to the back, somehow went from like outside of the top 10 to winning this race in the span of like 5 laps. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. So first of all, shout out to Ryan Blaney, because this was his second win of the season. Gives him a little bit more playoff points leading into next week. But also the happiest man in the city of Daytona tonight is Alex Bowman, 100%, because if his teammates didn't leave Ryan Preece by himself in that top line, either Preece, Justin Haley, or Eric Jones could have won this race, and Alex Bowman would be outside of the playoffs. And that would be all that anybody in NASCAR, in the NASCAR media, NASCAR social media, that would be all that they would be talking about. Because if he were to miss the playoffs in a Hendrick car, just would not be a good look for him. But luckily he made it. So now that leads us into the playoffs. And here are the 16 drivers who have made the playoffs. Kyle Larson, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, SVG, Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric. Ross Chastain is only 1 point above the cut line, and so is Joey Logano, only 1 point above the cut line. So going into the round of 16, the 4 drivers below the cut line are Josh Berry, Tyler Reddick, Austin Dillon, and Alex Bowman. So that's going to be very, very interesting, because next week is my personal favorite race of the NASCAR season every single year, the Southern 500 at Darlington. So we'll see how that race goes. But as for tonight's race, I honestly thought this was a great race. The 400-mile race at Daytona usually goes like kind of quick. Not quick because it is 400 miles, but it just feels like a much smoother race than the Daytona 500. And I'm not trying to disrespect the Daytona 500 because it is by far the biggest and most important race in NASCAR. But something about the 400-miler, which is usually in July or August time towards the end of the summer, it just feels so much shorter and much more of a enjoyable experience for me as the viewer. And tonight's race was great. There was some guys who could have snuck in a victory. Like, if Cole Custer would have won, that would have been crazy. Daniel Suarez almost won towards the end of the race. I believe he came in second, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he was third, but he almost won. That would have been crazy if he would have won his way into the playoffs. But Ryan Blaney just spoiled everybody's dreams, and Alex Bowman is very happy about it. And I loved this race. I'm going to start ranking all these races on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to give this race probably an 8.4. It was like a solid race. I wouldn't put it in like A grade territory, but it was like a medium B. So that's why I think 84% is good. Yeah, this is the first video on Yanker Racing. Make sure you guys go down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be dropping a lot of videos, and also news videos, not just race reviews, but news videos as well. And leave a comment of who you think is going to win the championship. We're about to go into the playoffs, so let me know who you think is going to win it all this year. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out of here.